You're listening to Chillworthy.
A podcast where two best friends discuss mysteries, murders, and anything in between for your enjoyment.
So if you're ready to hear some chilling and unsettling cases, you're in the right place. Happy listening. Hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Chillworthy with Brent and Talia.
Hi, everybody. Feels like freaking
Very
forever.
It has been forever.
Yeah.
So, we're off of like maybe a month hiatus.
Yeah. Unexpected.
But here we are.
Yeah.
Bick, as you say.
We're Bick.
So I'm sure you're doing fine, as per usual.
I am. Are you?
Yep.
Good.
Now we have a couple of things, I guess, to discuss before we get into this. I'd like to go first because there's so much more brief. So I have one book that I would like to say.
Which, may I tell everybody, he has more than one book. He just doesn't feel the need to share them all.
Absolutely not.
Because this is,
over the
quote,
past month I've read other books, but it's not. Yes, because quote unquote, it's not a book podcast.
Right.
Correct.
Fine.
So, but this one is fresh in my mind.
Okay.
So I would like to talk about it.
Please do.
It is it's a YA.
Oh, okay.
Psychological thriller.
Oh.
Called, which I did tell you about this already, Better the Devil. By Eric J. Brown. Eric is spelled with a K.
Thank you for including that detail.
And this is about a teenage youth, obviously, who is gay, and he runs away from his family's home because they are trying to send him to a conversion camp. And he's living on the street for roughly 8 months or so. And then he gets arrested, he does get arrested for shoplifting. And when he's sitting in the police station, he's like panicking because he doesn't want to go to juvenile detention and he doesn't want to get sent back to his family. And he sees a age progression of a missing child who disappeared like 9 or 10 years prior, and like the age progression looks very, very close to him. So when they take him for processing, he decides to tell them that he is said missing child on the poster, to, try to kind of like slow down this process so that maybe he'll have an opportunity to escape, and not get arrested and sent somewhere is the point.
But he does truly think it's him. He's not doing it he doesn't think it's him.
No, he doesn't think it's him. What the hell? I'm sorry. I know you were yawning through some of that.
Oh my gosh, here we go.
I'm doing this for the listeners at this point.
You're doing it for me as well.
So
I'm interested,
I literally just explained to you.
With his age, and when you said how long ago this missing person thing was, it did strike me as that doesn't quite match up. Like he would know if he was a missing child, I would think.
Right. He looked like him, so he thought, I'm going to do this so I can escape.
Fine.
The family is notified immediately, which he does not expect. And then they come and pick him up.
Are they nasty people?
Then things aren't quite as lovely. They seem lovely, and then they're not quite as lovely. And, then he starts digging into how the real kid actually, like, where did he go? What's up? Like,
this sounds like an amazing book.
Was he killed?
Yeah.
Like, what's happening? Blah, blah, blah.
Where'd you hear about this?
I think TikTok.
Yeah.
So anyway, that is what the book is about, and it kept my attention the entire time. I didn't even listen to it. I had the
Strictly
physical
read.
book, and I just read it in about 4 days.
Good for you, man.
So,
how many stars?
I would say 4.
Oh, shit.
It was nice enough.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm sorry, I want to possibly read this. What is it called? Devil? Demons?
Better the Devil.
Better the Devil. Oh, here it is, by Eric J. Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it has a nice house. 3.99 stars on Goodreads. This got really good reviews.
Yeah, I liked it.
Wow. Well, thanks.
How about you?
So, I mentioned this book when we met last. It's called Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I've read a few of her books. Always love them. Mm-hmm. This book was so fantastic. So fantastic. It's about the space program in the 80s. Sorry?
Okay.
Well, I guess actually prior
I didn't know you liked space so much.
I don't know why. Well, actually, I do know why. As a child, what kind of like triggered this was watching Apollo 13 with Tom Hanks.
That movie was very disturbing to me.
Ashley doesn't like it either. I was obsessed.
When that man freezes, when he puts his mask up, oh, that is so gross.
That movie is one of my favorites. And like truly, I would say top 10. If I had to pick 10 movies to watch the rest of my life, that would be in it. I loved that book. Historical fiction, love the stuff about space. I'm just so fascinated. And with this being a historical fiction, it had a lot of stuff in it that like was true, obviously. And I was going on deep dives left and right. It's also like a love story.
Oh, goodness.
Between two women. Very focused on like women rising up in NASA and like how that looked and how they didn't have the advantages that men did at that time, you know, in that world. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I was crying at the end.
You're breathless.
So I borrowed it from the library, but on my Kindle, and I'm going to buy it just to have it because I would like it to have always.
Good.
Okay. Broken Country. So that was 5 stars.
Right. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Broken Country by Claire Leslie Hall. 5 stars. Absolutely fantastic. And what I think is so interesting, just in terms of like books and people's opinions, like, so Erica and her mom both read it. Erica's mom gave it 5 stars. Erica gave it 3, said she was actually going to give it a 2, but it was such good writing, she moved it to a 3. But like, she hated that book. And I just think it's so crazy how books hit people just so differently. I currently have my grandmother reading it, and I'm anxious to see what she says. I say, I am nervous. She is not going to be as big of a fan as I was, but major tragedy and loss in this book. Definitely look into the trigger warnings. But it was absolutely fantastic. I loved that one. It just has stayed with me. I've thought about it multiple times, kind of like your Christmas case that I said. I keep thinking about. Yes, with the father. Also, I finished A Man Called Ove, but finally, which I started. My God, when did I start that? November of 2025. But it was so sad. I just had to keep taking breaks. But then like I tried to switch it from the lens of sadness. Like it is a quirky, funny, like sarcastically funny read. So I liked it. I did like it a lot. That one is by Frederick Bachman. I don't know how you pronounce his last name. But I gave it 4 stars. And then currently I started Mercy Street by Jennifer Haig. Hi. I don't know enough yet. It's super early on, but so I don't think I'm going to say anything about it yet.
Perfect.
But lastly, what I'm reading, but honestly, I think you will like this book. It's the more that I think about it, it's more up your alley than I think anything that I normally read. It's called Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates. And I'm like around 50%, but it's a horror. But so it's basically like this group of strangers, they're going up into the mountains, the Rocky Mountains. And it's, you know, they're on a tour bus and something ends up happening where like they cannot keep driving with the bus and there's a situation that occurs. And basically shit starts going off the rails. And I'm not giving anything away. This is in the description. But basically, like, it's suspected that there's, like, a killer either among them or...
That's always pleasant.
Yes. So
a pleasant read.
Right. And what I wasn't a huge fan of, there's, like, a lot of redundancy, which I feel like this happens with books where there's, like, a storm or a blizzard, where there's a lot of details about how much snow there is and the wind and the intensity of it. Which I think sort of has to be to really get the point across of how bad of a storm this is or how bad the conditions.
They can't do anything about it. Nobody's there to help them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like that has been a little bit, oh my gosh, like can we get moving here? And I no sooner had that thought and holy moly, this book, it got very gory very fast. And I was like, Jesus, like this is wild. So I feel like it is up your alley.
I mean, it sounds by far like the most interesting read you've spoken about in years. So
Thought you might say that. Right. And, you know, the people who remain in this group are convinced it's one of them. Like, of course, that's all they keep saying. And their theories are, or their, you know, basis for this is like, it's so harsh out there. Like, where would this murderer be? Which I do think it's someone else. Like, I can't imagine what you know about these people. There are a lot of people to keep track of. I mean, obviously they start dying, so that clears things up a little bit.
they're not in a resort though, right?
No, God,
Okay.
no. They were
Because
supposed.
I read a book very similar to this where they were stuck in a
Well, the
resort that got
sanatorium.
snowed in. No,
Well, I guess that's not quite how that one went, but
you know, so
no, they're in. So they end up finding this like shitty little, and it's hard to like imagine how small this is because the group of them starts as 10, I want to say, possibly 11. And when this whole thing goes down with the bus, they're on their way to this like beautiful mountain lodge that they never make it to.
Yeah.
And they end up in this like cabin to just have shelter from this storm. And the way that it's described, like it's pretty bare bones, but like, you know, there's one, I don't even know if there actually is a bed, but there was like a couch. They're all on the floor. They're like, you know, all with their backs against the wall, like trying to have space to themselves, but like there is real no space in this place. So it sounds pretty freaking miserable. And you know, the people who are there in this group are kind of strange and like not sharing a ton about themselves. So I think, you know, that makes them sound like suspicious characters perhaps. But I have my guesses if it is anybody in the group of two different people, but I don't know. Part of me does think it's somebody who is out there.
Well, I'm sure you'll keep us posted.
I sure will.
Lastly,
yeah.
2 nights ago we went to the premiere of Scream 7.
Hell yeah.
So, it's a very controversial. You know, people either liked it or hated it.
Oh, I
mean,
didn't
I saw
know.
so many reviews on how many people hated it.
Huh.
And I also saw a decent amount who said that they liked it.
But you said something about like it's the most, what was it?
It did break the box office records, yes.
For all the Scream movies.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I mean, like we talked about, we enjoyed it. You know, it wasn't as scary as we were both expecting it to be. I had it in my head that this was the last of the Scream movies. I reported that to anyone who would listen, and I made it up, it appears.
yes.
So because I thought that, though, I expected to be very emotional and be crying at the end. I was not moved to cry. I don't know. Definitely scary for those of you who know Scream movies, especially the original, like the first one, which is my absolute favorite. My favorite character is Stu Macher, and I was convinced he was going to be in this movie. So, like, I think that's why I was even more
But we don't want to
heightened.
give spoilers
I
now, do
know.
we?
I'm not saying it. I'm leaving it right there. But, like,
There we
that's
go.
my excitement over this was extremely high because of that, assumption that I made.
Yes.
So,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I obviously liked it, and I fall into that category of, in my head, to me, it is not Scream without Sidney Prescott. I'm not really that interested in Scream without her.
So you did not like Scream 6.
I'm not. I mean, it was fine, but you know,
I
it
liked.
is. I like her involvement,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Well, she's the staple, man.
That's what I mean.
I like how there were so many references in this one about that, like that she wasn't there for, like in the Scream world, it's the stab
Right.
movies, but like I
They
like,
were like the Ghostface killings don't count if you're not there, and
Right.
I agree.
right. I did like that there were just a few mentions made of that. I thought it was realistic.
So, anyway,
Yeah.
all right. Well, and look at us. We're at the 14-minute mark.
Fine.
So
Yeah.
it's been a while since we've done a case,
Yeah.
but I do have one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So this is the case of Kurt Sova, Sova. And it happened. What's wrong?
Nothing. I was going to say like soda. It was,
Almost.
yeah,
Uh,
root beer.
happened in 1981.
Oh, shit. The 80s. I do love the 80s.
All right, so this happened in late October 1981.
Halloweeny time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In Newburgh Heights, Ohio. Newburgh Heights. So
Rural.
yes,
I expect.
it was outside of Cleveland. So yeah, it was pretty quiet, like a pretty quiet place. This was on the afternoon of October 28th.
Oh, right before Halloween.
So 3 younger boys were exploring a ravine behind an old warehouse off of Harvard Avenue when they stumbled upon a sight that would haunt the entire community. This sight was the body of a teenage boy lying face up in a puddle. And the boy's arms were outstretched almost like a crucifix.
Oh.
He was missing one of his shoes, and only his left tennis shoe lay nearby, wedged in a pile of rocks, while the right one was completely vanished. And within hours, his body was identified as 17-year-old Kurt Sova, who was a local high schooler who had been missing for 5 days.
5 days once the boys found him. Found him on the 5th day.
Yes.
Wow.
So, to go into this mystery, we're going to start with who he was and, of course, the events leading up to that. So, Kurt lived with his parents, Dorothy and Ken, and they lived in a pretty close-knit neighborhood of this Newburgh. I want to say it's Newburgh. Newburgh?
I'd say Newburgh.
Okay, well, Newburgh Heights. So he was the youngest of 4 brothers. From what he was described as, he was responsible and a well-behaved kid. He wasn't known to be a troublemaker. He didn't have any issues at schools, and he had no run-ins with the law. So at 17, he was in junior high school. He was still close with his parents because he was, the baby of the family. He wasn't really the type that would stray far from home without letting his parents know. His mother later recalled that it was completely out of character for him to stay out late or overnight without permission. She was quoted in saying, "It was not like him to be gone overnight. He just never came home." And that was when she was describing the night that the night that he went missing. So the night she's referring to was the night of Friday, October 23rd, 1981. So earlier that day, Kurt had met up with a friend, a boy named Sam who lived nearby, and the two decided to go to a Halloween party happening that evening in Newburgh Heights. The party was at a duplex apartment on Harvard Avenue, less than 2 miles from his house. So Kurt hadn't originally planned on going out. He told his parents he was going to be home that night. But when Sam mentioned the party, Kurt decided that he would go for a little while to check it out. And according to Sam, they headed to the duplex in the late afternoon. So Kurt didn't even, it was still late afternoon. It wasn't that cold, I guess, so he didn't even grab a coat. Now, of course, the evening turned chilly.
Of course.
Because it was October
that time
in
of
Ohio.
year.
Yes. But we're thinking that he didn't grab a coat because he didn't expect to stay out long is what,
right. Good point.
So this was the last time that Kurt's parents saw him alive. So midnight eventually comes, and there's no sign of Kurt. So his mother grew worried, obviously. By Saturday morning, October 24th, her worry had turned into panic because Kurt had still not come home, and Dorothy began calling all of his friends one by one, hoping that someone had seen him or that he had, slept over at somebody's house, what have you. Meanwhile, Kurt's father, Ken, got in the family car and just started driving through the neighborhood, checking all of the usual teenage hangouts, cruising the streets where Kurt might have walked, but they came up empty-handed. There was no sign of their son anywhere, and by that evening, his parents I mean, they were just beside themselves at this point. So Dorothy even said she started looking in dumpsters
Oh my
for
God.
Kurt, fearing the worst.
That poor woman.
She said, we searched the ravines, we searched schoolyards. I even went so far as to search dumpsters looking for him. Then, on Sunday, October 25th, still no word from Kurt. His parents went to the police. That's
I don't.
That's
That's something. I don't want to
pretty long
judge
amount of time, but
before you, especially how all she says is how unlike this is of him.
although we know from prior stories, would they really have been doing much before 2 days? Probably not. But I agree, it is a little like
Just
okay.
odd.
So, but anyway, October 25th, the parents go to the police and report him as a missing person. They also printed up flyers with Kurt's photo and description, plastering them all around town, in shop windows, just praying somebody had seen him. Later that day, Dorothy finally got her first lead. Some of Kurt's friends told her that they'd heard Kurt was at a party on Friday night. This party, they told her, was on Harvard Avenue in Newburgh Heights. This was news to Dorothy because she hadn't known exactly where Kurt and his friend had gone that night. Which also is like, well, didn't you ask Sam? But
And wouldn't he have, like, I can't imagine, even though it wasn't reported to the police, that the friends and people in the community weren't aware that he hadn't come home. You would think Sam would be over there like, hey, this is where we were.
you would think.
Right. Who were we?
So now she got this location. So she goes immediately to this apartment in question. Now, this apartment was rented by a 20-something aged woman known as Susan, but some different sources refer to her as Debbie. But we're just going to call her Susan. So Dorothy knocks on the door that Sunday. A different young woman answered. She said Susan wasn't home and that she was just there babysitting. Dorothy left her number and asked the woman to have Susan call her as soon as possible.
Babysitting whom? Susan's child or children?
I assume.
Yeah.
So Susan does call Dorothy later that day, but her answers only deepened the mystery. On the phone, Susan flat out denied that there had been any party at her place.
I thought you were going to say deny that Kurt was there, but no, she's just saying there was no party at all.
Up in the ante. Denied that a party had taken place on Friday. She claimed she hadn't even seen Kurt at all. This, of course, did not sit right with Dorothy, who by now had heard directly from some of Kurt's friends that he was indeed at this party.
Now, riddle me this, though. Did the friends just say, well, Kurt told me this is what he was doing, or Sam or somebody else was like, I was there too, there was a party?
I think it's the second one.
And of course, Susan's denying this because she doesn't want to say she's freaking hosting underage children at her
I
freaking
agree.
house with a 10-year age difference, no less. Like, why is she hosting? The hostess with the mostest.
Yeah, you've got a lot of good questions.
Thanks.
Now, not long after this, a pizza delivery driver came forward with a crucial bit of information.
Shit.
He had told Kurt's mother and later the police that, yes, he delivered pizzas
To the party.
to Susan's duplex on Friday night. And there was definitely a party going on there.
That
so good for you, pizza man.
Exactly what I was just going to say. That man, good for him. He did the right thing.
I agree.
Who would have thought the freaking pizza delivery man would have been like, actually, you know what I mean?
I do.
A witness. A witness come forth.
So Dorothy again confronts Susan. Now, I don't know why she's confronting her, not the police, but
Good question.
again, lots of weird things. So at this point, Susan's starry. At this starry night. At that point, Susan's story changes. She reluctantly admits that she did host a get-together that night.
See.
And that Kurt had been there. And according to Susan, more than a dozen people had dropped by over the course of the evening.
Yeah, and why?
Some of them were older than Kurt.
Oh.
And mostly people Kurt didn't really know. Susan also mentioned something alarming. She said that Kurt had been drinking heavily, specifically Everclear.
Oof.
Which, of course, as you are well aware, is grain alcohol. 190.
I thought
190% proof.
I thought you were going to say, as I'm aware, you've never had it. But no, that's not what you said.
No. How else could you play? What was it?
Edward
Edward.
40 hands, and you didn't play
Yeah.
it with grain alcohol. That was in the punch.
Well, I don't know. What do they call that? Jungle juice or
Hell
something?
yeah.
That's scary stuff.
It sure is.
Anyway,
That was for special occasions.
I bet. So he's drinking this Everclear, which had just was being passed around basically. And speaking of that though, I remember on our trip when we were oh my gosh, what were we doing?
Tennessee.
Yeah, but what were we tasting?
Yeah.
What was that? It wasn't wine. It
Moonshine.
was moonshine.
Yeah.
Some of that was 100%. They said.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
I was
Strong
just watching
stuff.
you, but yeah.
I was getting yours.
Yeah.
Double duty.
Anyway, this struck Kurt's family as very strange because Kurt was not known to be much of a drinker. It was out of character for him to consume a lot of alcohol, let alone a notoriously strong thing like Everclear.
Peer pressure.
So the whole scene sounded very suspicious to his parents. And why the hell had Susan lied initially? And what really happened at the party? So,
She was trying to cover her own ass. Not very well, might I add.
hoping to piece together Kurt's last known movements, Dorothy spoke with Kurt's friend Sam, the friend who had gone with him to the party. So Sam filled in some crucial details. He said that at one point during the party, Kurt started feeling sick. Well, yeah.
I bet.
Kurt was stumbling and clearly not well, so Sam helped him outside for some fresh air. It was a cold night, and Kurt didn't have his jacket on, so after settling Kurt by a fence outside, Sam ran back inside the duplex to grab Kurt's denim jacket for him, which I thought Kurt didn't have a jacket, but
Or not a
heavy one.
like winter coat, but
So, unless it was somebody else's jacket he was
Maybe.
grabbing. But Sam swore that he was only gone for a few minutes, but when he returned, Kurt was gone. The drunken teen he'd left leaning against the fence had vanished without a trace. Sam said he looked around the immediate area, but didn't see Kurt anywhere in the darkness. It was as if Kurt just disappeared.
were
Or was
Susan's-
taken.
Yeah, true. True.
In this confusion, Sam assumed that Kurt perhaps just managed to collect himself and decided he was going to walk home because this was only 2 miles away from his house.
Yeah. Were Susan's children at this party?
I don't have that information.
Highly inappropriate, if so.
Now, in fact, Sam later found that Kurt's jacket was still inside the duplex, meaning that Kurt did leave without it, so he didn't run back in to get it. And when Dorothy heard this story from Sam, she was also beside herself. She knew that in her gut, something bad must have happened to Kurt. Well, obviously, he's been missing for 3 days now.
And no one saw him after that.
She said, I was certain something happened to him, either at the party or in between the party and home. So, as the days dragged on with no contact from Kurt, the parents continued to push the police to investigate and followed every lead they could. The situation took several bizarre turns in the 5 days between Kurt's disappearance and the discovery of his body. Witnesses and strange clues begin to emerge. So one of these incidents came from a friend of Kurt's named David. David came forward and claimed that he saw Kurt alive on Monday, October 26th, which would have been 3 days after Kurt had gone missing.
And not come home to his family.
Yes. Now, according to David, he was driving that Monday on his way to a job interview when he spotted Kurt walking along a busy street in the area, less than a mile from where Kurt lived.
Mm-hmm.
Kurt was on foot with another boy that David did not recognize. Surprised, David pulled his car over and called out to Kurt, to see if he needed a ride. I guess he was running early for his job interview.
Had time to spare.
So before David could properly get Kurt's attention, though, a van pulls up to the curb. To David's surprise, Kurt suddenly yelled out a name. And this name is Franco, as if he recognized the person driving the van. Then Kurt and the other boy quickly ran to this van. They climb in, and the van drives off. So now at this point, David didn't know Kurt was missing. And he just thought Kurt was with some of his friends who he didn't know. Only later, when David learned that Kurt had been missing, did he realize the importance of what he had seen. So he immediately tells Kurt's family that he tells Kurt's family that he would have followed the van had he known that this kid was missing. Well, yeah. But then, of course, people are like, well, who the hell's Franco? Where were they taking Kurt in this van? Why didn't Kurt reach out or go home if he's just walking around 3 days prior to being gone?
Did David say how he looked? Like, I assume nothing stood out to him that he was alarmed by.
I don't think so. Now, around that same time, another eerie event occurs. So his mother had been putting up missing person flyers all over town, including the window of a local record store that the family used to go to. On Monday, the record store's manager told Dorothy that a disturbing encounter happened with a strange man who had been loitering in the neighborhood. This unknown man, later, I guess, described by police as a drifter from Detroit. He had walked into the shop, noticed Kurt's poster, and made an interesting remark. He told the manager she might as well take the flyer down.
I'm sorry?
She might as well take the flyer down because, quote unquote, they're going to find him dead in 2 days. Nobody's going to know why he died. End quote. Yeah, that's a pretty interesting remark, I would say. A bold and ballsy remark.
Super bold. And the specification of when the body's going to be found, I almost find more disturbing. Right.
Well, yeah, of course I would find that more disturbing.
I don't like any of that. That's chilling.
Chill-worthy. So naturally, the store manager, she's taken aback. She's like, who the hell says something like this? So she thought the man was perhaps just mentally unstable and talking nonsense. But the next day, Tuesday, October 27th, her skepticism turned into fear because before the record store even opened that morning, the same strange man apparently left flowers.
Oh,
I knew you weren't going to like that.
No.
This is the most disturbed you've been through the whole thing.
Oh, I have the chills, and I'm not joking.
I bet you do. Chill-worthy. Hardcore chill-worthy.
I don't like this shit.
So he left flowers and a note at the store's door.
Just waiting for her.
You got that right.
I'm so skeeved out.
The note contained a morbid little poem.
Oh, good. Great.
Roses are red. The sky is blue. They found him dead, and they'll find you too.
Are you effing kidding me right now?
I am not, but this is your worst nightmare come
Absolutely. To life. Now, the thing is, though, can't believe I'm defending this man, drifter. How do we know, though, he left this for her?
Well,
she's assuming he was flittering around, like watching her as she discovered these items, or she's
Well, I mean, I think this was the only person who literally said to her, hey, he's dead, by the way. They're going to find him in 2 days. And then she gets a note that says he's dead and they're going to find you too. I mean, I don't think it's...
I would leave town and never come back. I mean, I would never be able to get it out of my head that he was going to come back and kill me.
This is your literal worst nightmare.
And he had to include the flowers? Oh,
flowers.
I'm so deeply disturbed by this.
So now she was very frightened by this.
Yeah, rightfully so.
So she contacted the police immediately.
Good, someone did.
Investigators tracked down and briefly detained this mystery drifter, questioning him about Kurt's case. He was described as being crazy or mentally disturbed, bragging bizarrely about having access to bodies flown into Cleveland's airport.
So he's truly
No,
not
he's not
well.
playing with a full set of bocce balls.
Yeah.
And even about removing people's shoes. Truly interesting claims. However, at that point, Kurt was still just missing, and no one knew for sure if a crime had even been committed. So, lacking any concrete evidence that this man had done anything illegal, the police had to just release him.
Of course.
By the time Kurt's body was discovered the following day, this strange individual had vanished from the area.
It is odd, though, how... yeah, like with the timeline, how he wasn't too far off.
I agree, and he's never been identified.
And no one ever saw him again.
I guess including the shop owner, which I guess she's happy about.
I bet she hasn't forgotten.
I know you won't.
I will never forget this on her behalf. Oh, I am
to leave you flowers sometime.
It takes me back to that time you called me. Or no. You didn't call me. You didn't call me. Yeah, text. You texted me. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Anyway.
Now, one of the even more baffling turn of events happens in the very early hours of Wednesday, October 28th, which is, of course, the same day that he was actually found dead. Yeah. Now, sometime around 3:30 a.m., his mother was jolted awake by a phone call. A phone call.
That's also scary.
Although I think you would rather.
What?
I think you'd rather get a phone call than a note and flowers left.
I agree.
Because I think something about the note and flowers, it's
so ominous.
Yes, because it removes the actual person. There's a person on the other end of the phone.
Makes it slightly clearer.
But
you know what you're up against.
Right.
Maybe. But like back in this time in the 80s, I imagine like, who knows what kind of phone this was, but I'm imagining like a rotary, shrill, ringing.
Yeah.
And that's jarring.
It sure is jarring, but...
But you're right. It's no flowers and poem about death.
So she gets this phone call at 3:30. On the other end of the line was none other than Susan. Hello.
Having another party.
Who's this? Do you know that there is a guy and girl duo that just does nothing but have a podcast about each Golden Girls episode?
You know, I feel like I must have favorited it in my podcast favorites.
History,
whatever
right.
the hell you say, yes. And I was going through it like a couple weeks ago of just like, I wanted to start something new. Of course, I changed my mind very quickly and never started anything. But when I was going through it, there's a Sex and the City one too, and the Golden Girls one. And I was like, I should give that a whirl. Never did. But I feel
like if we weren't doing what we're doing, if we were to ever, I feel like it would be something where we watch the episodes separately, just one episode, right? And we jot down our thoughts as we're going through it. And then we reconvene, give a description of what the episode is, and then we actually talk about quotes, outfits, maybe things that don't make sense, inconsistencies. There's always those.
Always.
So,
always. They love that. Yeah, that'd be nice.
And I mean, we got a lot of material.
Oh my gosh.
7
years
seasons.
worth.
7 seasons.
Absolutely. Part 1 and 2.
Anyway. So, it's Susan on the other end. Now, his mother could barely believe what Susan was saying.
Ugh.
Susan told her that someone was sleeping in her basement.
Currently.
And that person might be her son, Kurt.
At 3:30 in the morning.
Yes.
If this
Susan's
is true.
Just a wealth of information.
She sure is. And I appreciate she didn't wait this time, I guess. If she just found this out, she got on the horn.
Imagine how his mother felt when she's saying this. Almost like, well, the son's been found then, like sleeping in the basement.
True.
But so why the hell Susan only mentioning this now?
Well, I assume she just discovered it. No?
Well, I don't know. Because we're saying here, like, what does she mean somebody's sleeping in the basement? Susan had lied repeatedly to Dorothy up to this point.
True.
So Dorothy didn't know whether this was just another lie or this was like a last minute change of heart or whatever. So she later recalled thinking, why are you calling me now and lying to me so many times? Uncertain, of course, she was, but desperate. His parents decide that they have to check it out. Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So Kurt's dad, he jumps in the car and he rushes over to Susan's duplex, this freaking duplex, in the middle of the night. Susan lets him in and directs him to the basement. Now, this sounds like it's straight out of a horror movie.
Absolutely.
Ken descends into the basement and he starts calling out for his son.
So the lights weren't on?
I don't know. I didn't say the dark basement. I just said the basement.
I'm just imagining most basements. Well, whatever. All right.
Most basements don't have lights.
And no.
What were you imagining then? Tell me.
Most basements, you go down in them and you don't have to be yelling to see it. I mean, for him to answer back, you go down.
Okay, well, I think he was also a little anxious to find his missing son.
I
but
suppose.
Tomato, tomato, as you say.
Right.
When he searched the dim basement, it was musty down there.
There it is.
Which we both
must
like.
Yeah, that is.
We enjoy a
nostalgic.
The smell of must. If we must, we must. I do. I love the smell of old basements and garages.
And throw in a church or two. Some church must. Must, right? Yeah.
Must. Yes.
It's a different breed.
So Kurt's yelling for his son. He's not there.
Nobody is down there.
Kurt did find, though, an old cot in one corner. And it looked like somebody had recently slept there. Because there was like rumpled up bedding. The pillow had kind of like a head indentation.
What is going on in this house?
Who the hell knows? But whoever was in that cot was gone now. Ken carefully searches every nook of this basement. He's looking underneath the stairs, behind different boxes. But Kurt is not there, and he leaves the duplex empty-handed and deeply uneasy, let's just say. I can't believe he went there without the police to begin with.
Same. And why wouldn't you call the police right away before you do anything? I feel like...
Obviously.
Yeah. It was like a wild goose chase. And I feel like I would just want to shake Susan. Like, why did you just call if no one's even down here? Like, I'm thinking she just discovered him. Oh my gosh, I better call the parents. Let me do the right thing for once. None of it makes sense.
No. So now back at home, his mother... She's trying to make sense of why the hell Susan's telling her this. Yeah. Had Kurt actually been there, and like, was he hiding in the basement for some reason? So Ken was certain that somebody did sleep in that cot very recently. He said, when I got there, they were already gone. But whether that person had been Kurt, he did not know.
Yeah.
So now, of course, his mother, of course, wanting to believe that Kurt's still around, is like, she's convinced, yes, that was Kurt who was sleeping there. So she's just thinking Kurt had been at Susan's house probably since the time of the party and he was just gravely ill, or maybe he was already dead and she had put him down on that cot, or maybe he went down on the cot and then just died there. Who the hell knows? So Dorothy suspected that Susan and whoever else was involved panicked, and after that call that Susan made at 3:30 in the morning, somebody removed Kurt from the house, off the cot, dumping his body in the ravine, where, of course, he was then later found. So, only a few hours later, the morning of Wednesday, October 28th, the mystery reaches its tragic end, because around noon that day, those three neighborhood kids go exploring in the ravine, 500 yards away from Susan's duplex, and that's where they find Kurt's body.
What is a ravine? Like a crater in the land and the earth? What is a ravine?
Like a valley, I want to say, like where it like splits down.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Like an indent, like we're like a dried riverbed or something. I feel like something like that.
Yes.
So, like I said, I mean, he was lying face up in a shallow puddle of water. His arms were spread out, wearing the same clothes he had on when he went to the party. including the bright yellow T-shirt that his mother had described that he was wearing that day. Like I told you in the beginning, one of his feet was bare, and the other shoe was never found. Other than some minor scraps and bruises, there were no obvious signs of trauma or foul play. There were no stab wounds, no gunshot wounds, no severe beatings. Kurt's body was simply just lifeless with nothing externally explaining why.
Did they do an autopsy?
I believe so.
Do you think the friend, David, was somehow mistaken and it wasn't him?
I'm sure that's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, but, I don't know how close David got. He didn't know anything was wrong, so maybe he just, and he never even yelled out to Kurt, so but I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, the police arrive and they cordon off the scene, and among them was Lieutenant Robert Carras, one of the lead investigators at the time. And right away, he had a suspicion. He believed that Kurt's body had been dumped in that ravine deliberately, likely not very long before it was found. The ravine was not far from a busy road and was known as a place that neighborhood kids would frequent, so it was almost guaranteed that the body left there would be discovered sooner or later. So in other words, whoever placed Kurt there wasn't necessarily trying to hide him forever, just long enough to avoid being directly caught. Importantly also, Kurt's parents were adamant that Kurt had not been in the ravine earlier in the week. In fact, his father told the police that he had personally searched that very spot in this ravine on Monday, and he did not see anything. So that there was no way he would have missed seeing his son, considering where he was and how he was laying.
Yeah.
So now here we go. It's now Wednesday. Now Kurt's body just, ends up there. Now the coroner's findings were that Kurt had probably died about 1 to 2 days prior to being found. So roughly Monday night or Tuesday. If Kurt truly was alive until around 24 through 36th. I'm like, Cindy. If Kurt truly was alive 24 to 36 hours before discovery, it would mean that he might have died around the time that mysterious basement phone call had been placed, and that he was dumped very shortly afterwards, which... that's not good.
I wish we knew what the dialogue was between Kurt's dad and Susan, like when he went over there and he was down there looking through the basement and clearly somebody had just been there. Nobody's there now. What the hell was she saying? Oh, my God,
Who
he just
knows?
left. Oh, my God, I have no clue. Oh, I saw him 3 days ago. I just decided to call tonight. Like, what the hell was going on?
They're playing fast and loose here. So Kurt's body was transported to the coroner's office for an autopsy that same day. The coroner on the case, Dr. Adelson, he had to determine how a seemingly healthy 17-year-old could suddenly just end up dead. The autopsy results only made the mystery deepen because the examination found that there were no lethal injuries. As noted, just superficial scratches and bruises likely from being dumped in the ravine. Toxicology tests came back showing that Kurt did have alcohol in his bloodstream, but not a huge amount. His blood alcohol level was 0.11.
But also from when he potentially, when he had gone to that party and drank to the time of the autopsy, I wonder if those levels just started to go down. You know what I mean? That's what it was.
Well, I wonder if somebody has a huge amount of alcohol in their system and they die, does the alcohol still disperse because there's no metabolic functioning of the body anymore? So I wonder if does that prove he was alive to sober up, basically?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That
he,
especially when they're not supposedly, but estimating when he actually passed away from the time that he was found.
Yeah. So this 0.11% was nowhere near fatal alcohol poisoning territory, especially for a young man. There were no traces of hard drugs in his system either. He didn't have any undiagnosed medical conditions that could explain a sudden death. Dr. Adelson later explained that after ruling out trauma, overdose, illness, and every other reasonable cause, he was just left wondering what the hell's going on
So
here.
it was inconclusive.
So in the end, the coroner's office recorded Kurt's death as instantaneous physiological death. Basically a fancy way of saying his body just shut down for no observable reason. That's creepy. The
And
official
for how young he was.
Well, yeah. The official manner of death was labeled probable accidental, essentially by default. Dr. Adelson put a diagnosis by exclusion. So they couldn't find anything concrete that killed Kurt. They assumed it must have been some kind of freak accident or a fluke. This conclusion did not sit well, if you can believe it, with Kurt's family or the surrounding community.
These poor people.
Kurt's mother, she refuses to accept that her son just died. She said, I didn't believe that they couldn't tell me how Kurt died. She said, very frustrated that the autopsy shed so little light. So to the parents, authorities were essentially throwing up their hands. His parents weren't looking for a convenient answer. They wanted the truth, whether it was bizarre or not.
Well, and it's like, of course. And he didn't pass away in his bedroom, like in his bed
Right.
with his family downstairs in the freaking kitchen. Like, he went missing and then was found in a ravine, not half clothed, but like it looked like he had been through something.
Mm-hmm.
And then we knew that he was at the party. There's just a lot of things where it's just to basically say that his body shut down. I don't know, man. But you find what you find also.
You sure do. Now, with Kurt's death now confirmed but far from explained, the case shifts into a different gear because what had begun as a frantic missing person search now becomes a sudden death investigation. Dorothy especially became a driving force pushing to piece together those 5 missing days. In the immediate aftermath, she replayed every strange clue that they had encountered. She goes through one by one the odd incidents, forming a pattern of suspicion. David's sighting of Kurt and about the van. Franco. Monday, that suggested that Kurt hadn't simply wandered off into the wilderness on a Friday night because he was still walking around the town on a Monday. Of course, he was also with people, which was interesting that David did not know. Then we have your favorite guy, the creepy stranger's prediction about Kurt being found 2 days and how disturbingly accurate this was. Police ultimately dismissed him as an unstable individual with no proven link, but the eerily specific thing that he said about the warning is kind of hard for a mother to ignore. Yeah. Then there was Susan's 3:30 a.m. phone call about the basement sleeper and the cot that Kurt's father had found when he went into the basement. So Dorothy was convinced that these events were all connected to whatever befell her son. In her view, Kurt had been hidden at that duplex or kept alive but perhaps in distress for days. Maybe the party hosts or others were afraid to get him medical help if he was overdosing or suffering alcohol poisoning, so they tried to care for him in secret, and when he died, they disposed of his body. Dorothy openly voiced her theory. I think Kurt was there. I think he was already dead in that cot, but I think they panicked and got rid of his body in the ravine. She and Ken both emphatically believe Kurt's body was not lying in that ravine until the very end of this saga, based on their own searches. Investigators interviewed those who had been at the party. However, getting straight answers proved difficult.
Yeah.
Many of the attendees were young, some minors, some in their early 20s, and perhaps not eager to admit what really went on. Susan had already shown she was willing to lie. Yeah. Others gave statements, but were all inconsistent. It's worth noting, though, that no one reported seeing Kurt leave with an unknown person. He seemingly just slipped away quietly in the chaos after Sam went to go get the jacket. So now, of course, people were wondering, could someone have lured him away with a promise of like a ride home, or I guess maybe more drinks? Did Kurt get dizzy and maybe feel sick and stumble off on his own? Had he collapsed outdoors on Friday and just happened to survive until Monday and then something else happened, which I don't think so. So the police initially appeared to lean towards the simpler explanation that Kurt's death was just a tragic accident, maybe an alcohol-fueled mishap where he wandered off, succumbed to hypothermia, or he fell and was just later found. In fact, for years, the official line remained that there was no evidence of foul play. But his parents and many townspeople had a hard time accepting that, given all the bizarre circumstances. In January of 1982, just 3 months after Kurt died, an unsettlingly similar event occurred. Another boy, 13-year-old Eugene Vet, Kvet,
Ooh.
was found dead in a different ravine. Lots of ravines around here.
Yeah.
In a different ravine about 2.5 miles away, but on the same road, Harvard Street. Eugene had gone missing a few days prior, and when his body was found, his right shoe was missing, just like Kurt's was. The coroner determined Eugene's cause of death was an accidental fall into the ravine, an ambulance. But the strange coincidence of the two boys that I guess they knew each other. Casually, they knew each other.
Quite an age difference between them. 13 and 17.
Yeah. But it was just weird that they both turn up in ravines. Both have been missing for days. Both losing a shoe.
The right shoe. Not that I
The
feel
wrong
like
one.
that probably means anything, but yes, a lot of similarities between the two circumstances.
So many rumors were flying around. So one theory was that Kurt had died at the party, and that a few of the partygoers conspired to hide his body temporarily. So a witness later reported that shortly before Kurt's body was discovered, she saw two young men dragging an unconscious teenage boy down an alley towards the ravine.
What?
Notably, the boy was missing one shoe. And she just assumed that at this time it was just a drunken friend and they were just helping him along.
Dragging his body.
After Kurt's death made news, she wondered, perhaps, could this have been Kurt? Disturbingly, though, and this is unfortunate in my opinion, the witness's husband told her, "Don't involve yourself in this or call the police. We should just mind our own business." Thank you,
see.
sir.
Yes. I will say, though,
Thank you, sir.
when she claims to have seen this, it still makes me wonder, though, because Kurt's dad did explore those ravines and didn't see anything. So if she saw this from the night of the party, being dragged towards the, I thought, ravine
She
in
said-
question.
No, this was a few hours before his body was discovered.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, that does match then.
So this would probably mean
Days
either
later.
super late that night. Right, the night
Because he was found
the
at
night
noon.
before he was discovered,
Yeah.
or like super early in the morning.
Right.
Hence, thinking they were just boozing too much.
And he said, don't involve yourself.
Right.
We should mind our own business.
So for a long time, it seemed like Kurt's case would remain forever dormant. But in recent years, there's been a resurgence of interest and a renewed push for the truth. So in 2019, nearly 38 years after Kurt's death, the new police chief, he officially reopened the case and even announced a partnership with the nearby Tiffin University's forensic students to re-examine all of the evidence with fresh eyes. So these college students pored over Dorothy's boxes of notes and old police files, brainstorming theories and angles that might have been missed. In early 2020, the police chief took Kurt's case to the National True Crime Conference, CrimeCon.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Huh.
Where hundreds of citizen detectives collaborated for a weekend to dig into the mystery. It was an unusual approach because it was essentially a crowdsourcing a cold case, but it demonstrated just how compelling Kurt's story remains even almost 4 decades later.
Exactly. And good for this police chief thinking outside the box. They didn't solve it yet. Why not?
Precisely.
Why not try something else? Unconventional.
While these efforts produced some leads and modern insight, unfortunately, none led to a breakthrough.
Damn.
As of the latest updates, the police chief stated that the case is still open but dormant, pending any new information that could surface. The police chief himself believes that the most likely scenario is that Kurt's death was some kind of accident that got covered up in a panic.
I think Susan is shifty as hell.
Well, of course.
And I bet you she knows what happened.
But that's basically it. I mean, up until today, it's still categorized as a very suspicious death, but it seems to remain suspicious.
That's really unsettling. I feel terrible for that family. You know, that will forever haunt them. No closure. And that the autopsy was just so inconclusive. Like, that's such a
Of course.
blow to all of this.
It's outrageous.
Yeah.
So that was the mysterious death of Kurt Sova.
Very sad.
Hell
May he
yeah.
rest in peace.
Yes, may he.
Yeah.
So there we have it. Another
Well,
case
thank
in
you.
the books.
Yeah. Very sad.
Hopefully everyone will enjoy that we're back.
I hope.
I hope they missed us. I hope Ashley
Maybe.
forgives us.
She's not pleased with this break.
What were we saying about that?
We're
You
our
said-
own boss.
Because Talia, we missed a few weekends, and I was like, fine, whatever,
We don't
We're our
report
own
to
boss,
anybody.
We're not working to anyone. And then later, Ashley sent me some kind of message about one of the episodes, and she said, Talia keeps telling me, we don't have any bosses. And I said, well, I consider you my boss, though. Like, if you're asking me for the episode, yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Give me a second. So, anyway. All right, well, I think that about wraps up this episode of Chillworthy. So, until next time,
Stay safe.
and stay chill.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye, everyone. You've just listened to Chillworthy. Thank you for joining us on this latest episode. While we strive to keep our discussions engaging and lighthearted, we also wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the real lives and events that are at the heart of these stories.
We try to approach each topic with a sense of curiosity and respect, fully aware of the impact these events have had on the individuals and their loved ones. Our goal is to honor their memories by keeping their stories alive and shedding light on the mysteries that surround them.
If you enjoyed this episode, please remember to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. And don't forget to join us on the next episode of Chillworthy.